Hey, what's up, everybody? It's All Work coming at you with something I've never done before, which is a review of something that I own. And it's going to be a review of a couple things that I have in my possession. And first thing I would like to discuss will be, I know it's backwards when you guys see it, but this is the WWE Encyclopedia that came out earlier late last year actually. Um, Big, awesome book. Just, you know, full color biographies, small biographies. Try to show you like Shane McMahon there and Shannon Moore and Sharmell, a couple other people there. But it's really cool. It actually goes through the history. Pretty much anybody that's ever wrestled in WWE, including Carlos Colon, is in this, and he only wrestled one match, I believe. I just flipped open to any page, and there's a write up about the Pitbulls, which was Jamie Noble and Kid Cash. Really cool book. Definitely a must own for any WWE, WAF fan. Just because there's a lot of interesting stuff in here. You know, gobbledygookers in it. It's just a really well done thing, and I hope they do it in another 5 years. They do it again. It's actually something really cool, and even like guys that had split off tag teams, and even if they went under a different name, there's a biography about the other character. So it's not just like, all right, like the Stalker. Stalker was Barry Windham, but he was also Blackjack Windham. So there's three separate ones. So there's one for the Stalker, there's one for Blackjack Windham, and there's one for Barry Windham. Really cool. The New Midnight Express, just a really cool book, and I highly recommend it to anybody. I don't remember what I paid for it. I don't remember what it goes for, but you could probably find it pretty cheap on eBay or something like that. Must own for any wrestling fan. A book that I didn't get a chance to read yet, and it's The For Forever. It's the Arn Anderson book. I didn't get a chance to read it yet because I just got a bunch of books actually in the mail, so this is one of the books that came in the mail recently, and excited about that. And Arn Anderson has a storied career, and just the stories about being on the road are well worth the price. So you can pick this up at High Spots. I know they have it, and it's a fairly decent price as well. High Spots has a lot of good shit. And by the way, I'll have no problem with plugging High Spots. I actually got a lot of cool stuff. I actually collect figures as well, and they have really good selection of books, wrestling masks, T-shirts, DVDs, and whatnot. All your wrestling needs. Another great book that I picked up late last year is the Bret Hart book, My Real Life in the Cartoon World of Wrestling. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. A lot of great stories in it, and a lot of the story, I watch shoot interviews as well, so there's a lot of stories that I've heard, but to hear him in his word, to see him, to have him written down, it's a really big book too, by the way. I'll tell you how many pages. Roughly about, sorry I'm taking so long, I really didn't have this planned out or anything. You got about 548 pages, and it's well worth it. Well worth the pickup. Once again, they probably sell it in paperback as well, but I got the hardcover edition. Really good book. Once again, if you're a Bret Hart fan, wrestling fan of Canadians, it's something I highly recommend picking up. Great book. Can't say enough about how good this book was. You knew a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of stories about growing up in the Hart family, and of course if you guys have ever watched any shoot interviews, there's stories about the Hart family, and it's nice to hear from actually a Hart family member, opposed to hearing it secondhand from other people. Another cool book that I just recently picked up is the 10 Pounds of Gold, the close look at the NWA World Title. It's just a small book, a little bit of history in it. Nothing great, spectacular. I'm a big NWA fan of, the history of it. And this is as a kid growing up, this to me was the World Championship. Not the WWF World, even though I was a WWF mark as a child, as a kid, but this belt meant more to me than the belt that Hogan wore. And you'd always see very predominant guys hold it. And in my mind, this belt is the true World Championship, not the big gold one. A lot of people there, big gold one. Yeah, the big gold one. I'm happy that they didn't disgrace that. Now, this was a book I had picked up. It's called Ring of Hell. It's the story of Chris Benoit and the Fallen of Pro Wrestling. That's what it's called. Good book. In a sense. It made me rather angry. Just because I'm going to tell you really quick, I just want to find where it says the author's credits are what he's done in the past. He's a crime writer. He writes crime stories. You know, books about true murders and stuff. And granted, this is a book about what actually happened. My problem with this book, though, is if you go to the back of the book, there's references. He wrote, you know, he seems to have known his stuff, but then I read the back bibliography where he got his information from. Six Lies and Headlocks: The Real Story of Vince McMahon. Billington, Tom Cole, Pure Dynamite, Dynamite Kid Story. Now, there's books that he's read. There's newsletters he's read. There's radio talk shows he listened to with Dave Meltzer. If you don't know who Dave Meltzer is, look it up. You know, websites that he's been to get him. You know, stories that he's read. And this is where he got his information from. You can't read it because, once again, it's backwards. I cannot figure out how to change that on my computer. But television, videos, and DVDs. This is where it gets interesting. The Billy Jack Haynes shoot interview. The Bad News Allen shoot interview. Bam Bam Bigelow shoot interview. Bobby Heenan shoot interview. Crime Time shoot interview. Dallas Page shoot interview. Eddie Guerrero shoot interview. David Schultz. Forever Hardcore, put out by Big Vision. And if anybody saw it, it's pretty good, but it's not that great. Full Case of Tales by High Spots, which is actually really good. Kevin Nash's, Kevin Sullivan, Marty Jannetty, Nasty Boys, Ole Anderson, Road Warriors shoot interview, Ron Simmons shoot interview. This is where he got his information from. Now, in my opinion, I could have wrote this book down, because this is something that I own most of these shoot interviews. I have seen most of these shoot interviews. These are websites I have visited. But yet this guy writes a secondhand account of things. And there's stories in here about Benoit and Dynamite Kid, which is I'm going to get to next, which kind of upset me, because when I realized that this guy wasn't actually a wrestling fan in the sense, but he was just taking these stories that people told and used them to write a book about a tragedy. Pure Dynamite. Dynamite Kid, Tom Billington story. Now, reading Ring of Hell, you would think that this guy, most possibly, could be evil, just a fucked up human being. There are things that are in this book that ended up in this book that were taken out of context. There are stories that Dynamite Kid tells in this book, where you get the full story, that are in this book. And you only get half the story. So, fuck Ring of Hell. If you want to know things about Benoit and what happened, pick up Dynamite's book. Pick up Brett's book. I believe Our Video is doing a shoot interview series. They're putting together a compilation type deal, which they've done with their Got Heat series and a couple other things. And I'm really excited for it. It's called The Aftermath of the Benoit tragedy. That's something to look forward to. But honestly, all these books are really good, with the exception of Ring of Hell, because it's all secondhand accounts of shit. Where the Bret Hart book is first-hand accounts by Bret Hart. And same thing for Dynamite Kid's book and the Arn Anderson book. The Encyclopedia is great, and the 10 Pounds of Gold is great as well. And I highly recommend it to any wrestling fans to go pick them up. As well as the Mick Foley books. I have read the first one, Have a Nice Day, which is fantastic. as well as Terry Funk's book, which is wonderful as well, especially if you're a fan of Terry Funk like I am myself. It is something you should have in your collection. So, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And when I have time one day, maybe I'll do some reviews and some DVDs and shoot interviews I have or I've seen, and just, give my point of view on this stuff. Remember, guys, it's all a work.